Mile marker 313. I used to think night driving was just patience and podcasts. White lines, exit signs, gas station coffee, cooling in slow motion. I'm 25, moving cross country with everything that doesn't rattle stuffed into a hatchback. My rules are boring on purpose. Plan fuel stops where there's light. Don't take unlit exits. Don't pick up hitchhikers. Keep the doors locked even when you're sure. One superstition from my dad: if your GPS changes the route at the last minute, ignore it. Roads want company, he said, but they don't need yours. By 11:18 p.m., I was 3 states in. The highway, a black ribbon. The radio, a murmur. The first odd thing was polite. At a pump outside a shuttered diner, the receipt printer chattered before I touched the button and spat a slip with no total, no logo, just do not pull over. Along the edge, microscopic gray numbers that weren't the hour. 3:13, Amba. The pump screen told me 11:19 and insisted the roll was out of paper. I stuck the strip in the visor because paper feels like proof, even when it isn't. Back on the highway, the phone on the dash buzzed. The map app suggested an alternate route. Saves 13 minutes. The arrow pointing not left or right, but down, which is a joke until a road tries it. A button slid up. Double tap to confirm. 2 tiny hearts fluttered, like this was social, instead of instructions at 70 miles an hour. I stayed in my lane. The median was a negative space, trees drawn with a blunt pencil. I was alone until I wasn't. Headlights appeared behind me, then dimmed, then matched my speed with the politeness of a stranger who doesn't pass, but doesn't drop back. I watched the mirror until I could describe the car without seeing it. A sedan with a missing daylight running light, and a front plate I couldn't read. At 11:37, 2 taps landed on the driver's window from the inside. Not road grit, not bugs. Knuckles. Measured. I flinched and laughed. The sound people make when their body lies to their head. The sedan stayed where it was. The radio dropped to static and found a voice that wasn't a station. Careful, like each word had to be carried. Don't pull over. I turned the volume down. The voice stayed under the knob, the way engine noise lives inside your bones. A green mile marker flashed. Chatersor. The next one said, Lub, like it wanted me to pick. Then 3-1 again. My phone's clock hiccuped. 3 month, then corrected to 11. The map arrow hopped back, forward, and settled with my car icon. Inside, it for a blink, as if the app had decided I was both driver and passenger. The sedan eased closer in my mirror. The passenger window fogged a perfect handprint from the wrong side of glass. 5 long ovals and a heel, and slid them down an inch before clearing. I told the dashboard no. The dashboard made the agreeable silence machines use when they plan to ignore you. The rest area 1 mile sign glowed as if someone had polished it. My bladder did that treacherous calculation it does. Then a smaller sign beneath. Closed. In letters so reflective, they made their own moon. The sedan blinked once, as if agreeing. My phone buzzed. A text preview from unknown. I'm here. The dot on the tiny map attached sat behind my car icon, then inside. It then corrected to a location that doesn't exist. I passed the closed rest area anyway, craning out of habit. The picnic shelters hunkered down like bad decisions. The soda machine throbbed a red eye. In the glare of my high beams, a figure stood between the vending and the restroom building, only the tilt of a head. Visible as if the night had drawn it in 3 strokes. Shoulder, shoulder, face turned as if listening to the road. The figure raised a hand shoulder high and held it there like a kid who learned to wave wrong. I kept going. The sedan didn't. At 12:03, the road surface changed to that tight grit sound that makes your teeth remember their job. 2 knuckles, knocked from somewhere under the rear seat. Patient, not urgent. I did the inventory you do. Nothing loose, no bottle rolling, spare tire secure. The knock came again, like a person reminding me of the first half of a sentence. The radio, because it has bad timing, whispered, "Don't stop." The map app chimed with triumphant tone. "Turn right." There was no right. A slanted reflector post flicked by where a road would be in a movie. The app corrected without apology. A banner slid up. Rerouting to 313. If roads can grin, this one did. I told myself a story about fatigue and numbers and mechanical goodwill, and picked a new podcast with a voice that sounded like daylight. The sedan behind me threaded the same story, kept space, kept speed, kept me. At 12:19, the fog came in uneven, like someone had sprayed water low to the ground and left. Signs became ideas. The highway dropped a lane and then found it again. The mile 3 marker flashed, then flashed again less than a minute later. The phone clock flicked to 3:13 and back as if checking which hour I preferred. In my periphery, where the lane line lives, something moved as if walking just off the shoulder, keeping pace, not minding gravel. The next service exit promised gas S, food. Like a charm, I took it. Rules be damned. Because coffee and a human voice in a fluorescent box are spells. The off-ramp curled into a darkness whose only light was the gas canopy. I rolled to a pump. The receipt printer coughed before I touched anything and fed out a damp strip. Leave doors locked. The air smelled like coins and old coffee. The sedan pulled into the far bay, killed its headlights, and became a hole in the parking lot. The station was the kind that never really closes. One attendant, a lottery sign arguing with a flicker. He looked up like I was the first person he'd seen in a week who wasn't arguing with luck. "We get some weirdos after midnight," he offered, as if reading me like a manual. Behind him, the thermal receipt machine spit, unasked, a strip onto the counter. He glanced and slid it toward me, like a dare. "Do not open." The timestamp on the edge read 3. "Printer's old," he added, the manager prayer that keeps nights from spilling into days. From the pump, tap tap, sounded inside my car, not on glass, inside. The dome light stayed politely dark. I palmed the key fob and did not press unlock. The map app sent a new notification. Confirm route change? With 2 little hearts that pulsed to the rhythm of tap tap. For a second, I saw my reflection in the gas station window with another head. A half beat behind it, turned toward my ear, mouth parted, like it had reached the first half of "Don't." Back on the on-ramp, the sedan fell into place, behind me as if it had never left. The highway rose, and the fog thinned. For 3 minutes, the world decided to be generous. Then a shape appeared in the lane ahead, low, long, wrong, like a ladder that had fallen or a sofa dropped by a truck you'll never catch. I braked, heart snapping at my ribs. The sedan behind didn't honk. The shape evaporated the way a plan does when you look straight at it. My tires hummed, "Please to the asphalt." The radio agreed. "Leave the lane." I didn't. At 12:41, the CB scanner I keep for weather popped to life with a trucker advisory, then rode straight into the careful voice that had been leaving homework on my air. "Don T, go daughter down. The only down from here is a ravine when the guardrail fails." In the mirror, the sedan blinked one headlight, like a wink, then both, then none. The rest area, 1 mile sign reappeared, and then corrected to closed. Then to 3. Then to the shape of a sign without letters at all. A new notification. Passenger requested. Allow? My car does not have that feature. The button glowed, except with a second option in gray. Leave it locked. Tap tap came from under my seat. I said no because no is a small word you can carry while driving. The sedan fell back, then slid into the rest area. Anyway, brake lights smearing red on wet concrete. In the side mirror, through the wash of my own taillights, someone stepped into the light and lifted a hand shoulder high and held it there. The gesture waited the way a question waits. I looked back at the road because I have a superstition about recognizing people when I am not sure they people. At 1:06, the radio searched and found an AM preacher 3 states away telling me about a narrow road. The voice cut, and the same patient tone replaced it. "Don't stop." The handprint from the pump appeared on my window again. Inside, fog rising a thumb width above where my reach ends. Sliding down a polite inch, I turned the AC to windshield out of habit. The glass stayed cool under my palm, like it had an opinion about temperature. The highway leveled into a causeway over black water. The guardrail reflected nothing. Tap tap came from the passenger door, then the driver door, then somewhere behind my head, like a polite person moving around a car they were not supposed to be in. The sedan reappeared in the mirror at a distance that made sense only if time didn't. A roadside lit sign blinked. Checkpoint ahead, and then rest area, and then 313. My phone vibrated with a verification code I hadn't asked for. Another text. Confirm your meeting at 313. I put the phone face down. The causeway ended like a thought. The next exit promised motel in block caps that avoided specifics. I took it because people sleep in motels, and doors lock, and coffee machines make comforting noises. The motel office smelled like cleanser and the kind of flowers that live on lobbies. The night clerk slid a clipboard toward me without looking up from a tiny TV that showed the highway as if it were a fish tank. Room keys, he said. The printer beside him coughed a strip onto the formica. He didn't read it. I did. Do not open door. 3 Morris 13, on the edge, gray as fog. Printer's old, he pre-apologized, eyes on the screen where taillights ran like blood. You want first floor? Second, I said, because stairs make me feel like choices exist. In the room, the AC unit did that sigh old machines do when they decide to pretend they're new. The door latch settled with a hotel click. The peephole showed the empty breezeway and the sodium light's patient circle. As I set my bag down, 2 knuckles tapped the door from the hallway side, measured, polite, not the clerk, not anyone who paid for a room. Tap tap on the glass of the peephole, closer than close, as if a nail had tested the lens. My phone woke on the dresser and flipped to 3 13, and back to bot 141. The motel clock radio, unplugged, gave one soft beep. The AC shuddered and kept breathing. A voice through the door, careful, like a museum audio guide that has opinions, said, "Leave it locked." Whoever was outside knocked once more. Then again, the two tap. The highway has been using to practice manners. I didn't answer. The hall carpet muffled steps that didn't know how to choose a direction. Eventually, they forgot me. I slept until the hour let me. I woke to my phone buzzing with a single notification from the map app. Resume route? The little hearts were back, pulsing like a small animal. The sedan was gone from the lot. The highway outside had chosen daylight. At 3:13. For real, a week later, on a different piece of road under a different moon, the app pinged with a route change that promised saves 13 minutes. The arrow pointed down again. I said no and stayed in the middle lane and told the dashboard out loud that we are not stopping. The handprint didn't appear that night. The map behaved like a tool. The mile markers counted honestly. I finished the drive 2 days after that. I'm home now, unpacking the superstition with the mugs and the towels. Sometimes the hallway in my building knocks twice, like a polite neighbor. Sometimes my phone flips to 3:13. And back when I'm washing dishes, when it does, I put my palm flat to the door and say, in the voice the road taught me, "Leave it locked. We're not pulling over." For a long, thin moment, the wood cools under my hand, as if another hand has matched mine through it. The building breathes like a car at idle, and whatever was learning my route, a half beat behind me, chooses someone else, is alternate, and lets me pass.
If you survived this far, leave your like to prove you are not afraid.